everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and I'm working on another pair of Taylor Swift socks today. This one requires a little bit of explanation because I'm not following any specific pattern, nor is it something that was easy to figure out, so much so that I actually already started this pair of socks once already, messed up, deleted all my footage, started it again months later, and then put it down, forgot to film. And now I'm coming back to it and I have a little bit already done. So, but no footage for this part. So we're just starting with some of the ribbing already done. But today I will be doing my Evermore socks. And I am making these to match my Folklore socks, which were made in a DK weight yarn. I'm using Premier Nordica. This one is the color Rose Linen, and I made my Folklore socks out of the same yarn, but in the gray colorway instead of the like rosy brown and cream colorway. So, some explanation to these socks. First of all, the song name. I haven't actually decided yet which song I'm going to say these are inspired by, because I took inspiration for this one more from the album cover than I did from a specific song. What I'm trying to do here, this is a really weird explanation. I want these socks to look like they are French braided. My Folklore socks, you can hear my heat turning on, it's cold. My Folklore socks had some hidden cables in them. You can check out that video on my channel if you're interested in seeing what those look like. And I did the cables without putting a border around the cables. So traditionally when you knit cables, you either do it on an all reverse stockinette background so that the background's all purl bumps, or you put a border of some other stitch on either side of your cables so that they stand out. I did not do that on my Folklore socks. I just did the cables on a stockinette base. So they're kind of like hidden in the surrounding stitches. So you just kind of see the random twists. It's not standing out like a cable typically is. I liked that technique and realized it would be a really great way to do a French braid cable like what Taylor's done with her hair on the album cover, by doing the same thing but with a braided cable. Here's where I messed up in the previous version of the socks. I forget that when I'm doing cables, the number of stitches that it says for the cable, so like cable 6 forward or cable 6 back, is not how many stitches you move forwards and backwards on the cable needle. You move half of that number. So there's your teachable moment for the day. But all of that is to say that I am attempting to do a pair of DK weight socks with a cable down the middle of each sock, or close to down the middle. And I want it to be a braided cable, and I'm not doing any other fancy stitches. So no backgrounds, no other textures, whatever. This is the cable pattern I'm using. It's from this book. And I am also using the DK Vanilla Sock pattern by Kay, the Crazy Sock Lady, as my like base for the socks. So here's the general plan. We're gonna do some ribbing at the top. Clearly I've already done that. I think I'm actually going to do a few more rows of ribbing on these to make the ribbing a little bit taller. Then on one sock, the front of it is going to be 7 stitches, then the cable, then 8 stitches. And on the other sock it's going to be 8 stitches, then the cable, then 7 stitches to make the mirror images of each other. The number of stitches doesn't quite work out for it to be dead center for the cable, so we're just going to adjust it either way. Otherwise, I'm basically making a vanilla sock, as the pattern says. I think that's all the explanation. Going back to the name, I debated just calling these the Evermore socks, since I'm taking inspiration from the album cover, but there also is a song called Evermore. But I was also thinking that the socks could be called Dorothea, because that is the only song on the album with a woman's name in the title. So it would kind of match the French braid feel. Not sure yet. Maybe I'll have to listen to the album while I'm working on these. But I think that's enough of an intro to get started. Felt very chaotic to film that with all the random noises in the background, so let's just dive back into knitting and ignore the imperfections. Okay, it's been a couple days since the last clip. I kind of did what I have done almost all in one sitting. I just dropped my cable needle on the floor. And this is what we've got so far. So you can see that kind of French braid looking cable. I really like how that's turning out so far. I have done one repeat of the cable pattern so far on my sock, and I did 15 rows of ribbing. I'm putting in a stitch marker every 8 rows. No, I've done 2 repeats of the cable pattern. That's why there's 2 stitch markers in there. So I've done 2 full repeats of the cable pattern. I'm probably going to do 1 more, maybe 2 more at the most for the leg before starting the heel, because I don't want these to be super, super tall socks, especially since I did more ribbing than I typically do. So they're already going to sit pretty tall on me. So at most I will do like double what the leg is now for the leg. But that's kind of how it's going so far. I am enjoying these a lot. DK socks work up a lot faster, which feels really strange to have not worked on this for very long, despite the fact that I haven't been working on them every day, and that they're already this long. I also am doing these 1 at a time instead of 2 at a time because I only have 1 pair of this size needle, which I forgot to say what size it is. These are 3.25 millimeter needles, but I like these so far, so let's keep going. Alright, I meant to do more progress clips while I was knitting, but I ended up getting into such a knitting rhythm yesterday that I like finished the whole foot of the sock. I just have the toes left. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit. First of all, I have now reached the point where we're on the darker shade of brown, which is kind of a weird look for the sock, of that it's mostly beige with just the toe being the darker brown. I'm also getting like a spiral pattern with the white flecks in the yarn. So this yarn maybe wasn't the best choice for DK weight socks, but it does match the folklore socks, and folklore socks did that as well. So I'm not too upset about it. This is really the part that's going to be visible if I'm ever wearing the socks. So I still think it's a fun project to work on. But these cables have been so relaxing to work on. I am usually not one to choose cable patterns because I find them kind of tedious. And if I am going to commit to a cable pattern, it's going to be like an ordeal for me to complete it. But this, I think because it's only every 4th row that you do something for the cables and the rest is just knit in the round, it has a good rhythm to it where it's still interesting enough to keep me like reaching for this as a project, but it's not overwhelming to do the cables. So loving how this is turning out. I think these will be very cozy socks, even though they're a little funky looking. It kind of looks like those like swirly ice cream cups now that I'm looking at it on camera, with the vanilla and the chocolate mixed together. I don't know. Maybe I've just been working on this for too long, but I'm going to go ahead and finish the toe on this sock. And I don't think I'll show the second sock as much on camera, just because it's a busy week ahead, which usually means that most of my knitting gets done really early in the morning, like before coffee, or really late at night, in which case, both of those cases, I don't really feel like being on camera. So I'm going to finish up this sock, check in, and probably get this done today. Alright, first sock is complete. I'm going to go ahead and start the second one. I did pull out some extra yarn until I got as close to the point in the pattern as I can get for the second sock, just so that I'm starting kind of with similar colors, at least for the top, because that will be the part that will like stick out of my shoes where you can see it. So I did skip the other half of the dark brown and like a little bit of the solid light brown, so that I'm starting back with the light brown patterned section. I don't know if you can see that. It does have the white flecks in there, just because I want these to look sort of the same on each foot. So let's dive into the second one. And we have a finished pair of socks. I am going to keep the name Dorothea for these socks just because of that braided pattern. I have it kind of shifted on my sock blockers so you can see it right now. I did mirror them like I talked about. So one of them had on the front 7 stitches, then the 9 stitches for the cable, then 8, and the other one had 8, then the cable, then 7, just so that they are mirror images of each other. And once these were on the blockers, I suddenly realized that they look like latte art in sock form, which I thought was kind of fun. But I'm really happy with these. I do think that I kind of wish that it was all the light brown without the dark brown, but that's just how the yarn worked out. I could have also tried to manipulate the colors a little bit more so that it like started with the dark brown cuff, then had some light brown, and then like a little dark brown at the toe. Probably would have been a better look. But these aren't bad, and most of the time when I'm wearing them, the toe will be hidden inside of my shoe anyway, so not really a big deal. For all intents and purposes, they will look like beige and cream socks, and the dark brown part will stay mostly hidden. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I have one more pair of Taylor Swift socks to do, and I'm hoping to do those Reputation socks soon. We'll see. We are approaching the really busy season for crafting with holidays coming up, so I make no promises, but I would like to do those very soon because I want to have the collection completed. So you can be looking forward to that. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw today, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And if you want to follow me on other social media sites, that information is in the description box. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.